Yeah, hi. So, welcome to another podcast. So, uh, and I appreciate you being here. So we can connect weekly on interesting topics. And if you guys have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to my website, which is sridharkarkipati.substack.com. I will leave it on the show notes. And also, this is our show, which is Minimalist Techie on Apple's podcast. So, do subscribe and leave a review. Right. So as every week, okay, before getting to that, okay, let me wish everyone that you guys have a well-deserved downtime and able to take a rest during this holiday period. And wish you everyone who is listening to this particular podcast and read my blogs a very happy New Year. And I wish you guys, you and your entire family, very healthy and a prosperous New Year. Wish you guys a happy, healthy, and abundant 2021. So let's mark a new beginning for the new year. And just like any other week, basically, this is a weekly recording of my weekly newsletter. So actually, this week, what I decided is that normally I'm doing my weekly newsletter as a separate article. Then I'm doing a recording of it, and I'm just showing, giving a highlights in the show notes and link to the original letter. So that makes actually one actual post and another one is an audio part of it. So I'm planning to merge them and give it a shot for a couple of weeks. I'm going to do a podcast episode and have my entire written content in the same show notes. So that would only make only one weekly update from my end or bi-weekly update from my end. So let's see, give it a try. If someone who want to read, everything is there in that link itself. And someone who just want to listen, they can just simply click on the audio button and simply listen to the show. Right? So we'll not get late. Let's see how exactly this one is a repetitive of the last week's post. But going forward, we'll try to do only one post, which will have an audio version at the same time. It has the written content in it as well. So without wasting some time, let's get into this week's uh, newsletter. So the very first topic, mostly is about the mRNA vaccines. See, mRNA vaccines are published in many articles. If you guys have reading since that Pfizer report came out, and then Moderna came out, so multiple companies are actually releasing the vaccines now. So there are many articles are written. What are these type of vaccines? How they helpful to you? But one thing that many articles are incorrectly mentioning that this is a new type of a vaccine. Sorry. So mRNA vaccines are published in many of the articles as a new type of a vaccine to protect against the infectious diseases. So this technology existed more than 3 decades earlier itself, but due to government regulatory systems and funding issues, this has never made into limelight. Now, during the COVID-19 time, the traditional vaccine takes time to develop and get released. Finally, they got an approval. All the regulatory barriers which was stopping its production and work on it got bumped up. So traditional vaccine triggers an immune response. Many vaccines put a weakened or an inactivated germ into our bodies. Okay, that's how the any regular vaccines are developed so far. Instead of mRNA vaccines, they teach our cells how to make a protein or even just a piece of protein that triggers an immune response inside our bodies. That immune response, which produces antibodies, is what protects us from getting infected if the real virus enters our body. See, COVID-19 mRNA vaccines, they give instruction to our cells to make a harmless piece of what is called the spike protein. So the spike protein is found on the surface of the virus that causes the COVID-19. So the cell displays the protein piece on its surface. Our immune system recognizes that the protein does not belong here and begin building an immune response and making the antibodies, which is which this particular RNA vaccine will help us to develop more. Like what happens in a natural infection against the COVID-19. So definitely this is not existing one. This is existing since many couple of decades, I would say. So the reason why I'm calling it out was that misinformation, and also I listened to this mRNA vaccine in a couple of other podcast episodes which I follow, and I found out one wide article giving the details of mRNA history, which, according to them, it went from a scientific backwater to a pandemic crusher. So, what I'll do is I will leave the link to the in the show notes. So, because that actually gives you that when exactly this was started, a certain biochemist in the year 1995, the University of Pennsylvania, when they got started, when they got turned down, then again they went back, then again, and finally during this COVID-19. So I would say it's a good read that will actually tell you that entire history, where exactly this was sitting. And finally, 2020 actually helped them because of the urgency. Everyone has to try different types of vaccines to get developed. And that way, all the regulatory barriers got removed. Do one thing, I'll post it the link in the show notes. Do give a read. Moving on to the second topic. So this one is more of my blog content. So topic is some people take things very personally, and I should say at work, many people take things personally. See, we all have seen many people who take things personally. They are around us all the time, especially at workforce or workplace. We will find them many. Ideally, workplace should have people on projects to have a common vision, which is the best interest of a project, right? Normally, a given project, you get in a skilled resources matching the skills required for to complete that particular project. Ideally, their vision is to complete it, right? One common vision. But we often see knowingly all few in your team or your work group always take things personally. Just not that they take things personally and end up responding back in a way which leads to mistreat their colleagues. Taking things personally is like person's natural behavior. Some people take it very aggressively, even it's not about them. They treat many things as personally as to them. Even like someone is just traveling in a traffic and just someone make a wrong turn and just went away, they treat it as okay, that guy is literally impacting. They change their entire behavior in such a way that it actually triggers certain strings in their mind that they are going to mess up their mind or be in that anger mode for a couple of hours. Basically, they're ruining their day as well. So, psychology says that a significant number of people are insecure about reality, and they tend to read these insecurities into action words of others and take them very personally. Basically, in all such situations, person's ego take over him, and it is the ego which does the talking. As they think they got mistreated or not given the importance, they have been asked for or have been told that they are wrong. So, biggest problem always is they think it is about them. Reality is it is not about them, but it is about the project they are all working on. So one should keep their emotions aside. And I remember from a Netflix culture blogs, I'm a great fan of uh, the work culture in Netflix organization. Please read their culture blogs on their sites, or maybe Reed Hastings has many other YouTube videos, the CEO, or you can read their new book, No Rules Rules. So their organization is very different than a traditional organizations, many of the companies where we work. So I remember from their blog, I remember that in the book they clearly say that we are not a family, we are a sports team. Okay, at a work, they treat their employees as a sports team. So we are not a family. See, family if someone is not performing well, still you try to buck them up. But sports team, only the best players will be in a team, right? Their intention is to win the goal. So basically, I would say in organization you should have such type of teams always. Basically, see, we all are adults, so I would act and treat like an adult at work. See any discussion in the best interest of your project or your organization when you are at work. Do not act immediately when ego takes up your conversation. Rather step back and view the situation as we, a team, as a team or as an organization, and see the intention of the other person. This is not easy to adapt to such a mindset pretty quick. So it will take some time, a discipline for every situation to step back and take time to respond as we instead of me. Right? So let's just stop making the ego respond, take a deep breath, and respond as a team, respond as a we, right? So assess your day. If you will see in which situation I, as a person, myself, right? I is taking over in your response. So in any situation where it says it is about me, review to see it again with a clear mindset. If does not work, then it is really about you and me. Okay, then they are definitely talking about you then or me, right? But not everything is about you and me. Do step back. Don't. There's no need to take many things personally. All right. Moving on. Third topic of that weekly newsletter was agility and the future of the work. Yes, uh, agile mindset. Yes, agility is a mindset. So Forbes did an article this week talking about future of work. So this year has certainly has taught us that we can work successfully remote, but at the same time, we all have gone through the cycle of how to work, where to work, how much time to work before getting burned out. So the agile framework, as we know, work with the info you have currently and recourse in later once your information is available. Right? So last 9 months, as we worked remote, most of our time work can be looked well with an agile mindset. Not just for work, having this mindset is good for any personal project as well. So definitely, agile is definitely not a new concept to people who are working in many of the organization. Don't know, I'm executing more than 5 or 6 years in agile projects now. So there are definitely key principles talked in this particular article, which I'm going to leave it in the show notes, which are needed to be highlighted during this COVID-19 time. So first is prioritize people and interaction over processes and tools. Yes, I remember talking exact point in one of my blog. You cannot treat your employee, your team member, just same as how you guys were sitting in a common workplace before, right? Because people's situations are entirely different when they are at home. You need to understand personally what they are going through. Maybe someone is taking care of a newborn baby at a home or a toddler at home, or taking care of their elders uh, at a home. So definitely one have to prioritize people and interactions over a process and a tools. So be a little bit loosely coupled in that case for sure. Second is collaborate with customers instead of focusing on contracts and numbers, and let them inform product development and marketing. This is how any agile is done. Customer is part of your product backlog, right? So in same principle, collaborate more with your customers rather than focusing only on your contract and numbers. Okay. Third is respond to a change versus simply following a plan with a continuous adaptation. This is also one of the agile principle only, where agile is not like a waterfall model. So you'll mostly very easy to adapt and change as you develop a product, right? So during this COVID-19 time, this is one of the principles we have to remind ourselves. Our days are not same as how it used to be, working our entire week without any disturbance. All right, we are at home, so definitely there will be some bumps here and there on your road, and you have to adjust couple of minutes, couple of hours sometime as you work from home. So do respond to those changes instead of simply following some standard plan. Okay, so continuously adapt to a certain situation. I'm going to leave the link in the show notes. Have a read. Definitely, the author has written a pretty good, but these are the high level points from it. Moving on, the fourth topic, which is this is the last topic of this newsletter, was behind closed doors at work. See, all this one is definitely coming from me because see, all traditional companies, leaving few like Netflix and some other organization, the creative organizations, which they don't follow a traditional uh, policies, all work in a closed doors. Yeah, if you remember, as I was reading a book, No Rules book this week, one of the chapter in it was screaming at me. Why the hell the companies are designed in such a hierarchical way as key decisions are done in a closed doors. See, if we all are working on some common goal, a project, whatever it is, we want each one of us to be committed to that particular vision. Either we succeed or fail, transparency should exist. So information should be honestly shared with all. We all have been there where we are sitting at a desk knowing that there is some meeting is going on whose outcome is unknown to us. At least in that time, it is clearly shouting out that we are at a wrong place. We feel everyone else there as strangers. Such situations make your own coworker or a boss whom you think are part of the team are creating a situation as they are sitting behind those closed doors or others sitting open waiting for the outcomes of those meetings happening in those closed doors. Yeah, a couple of my readers are leaders in their organization. I do recommend reading this book, No Rules. This is by Netflix CEO Reed Hastings and Erin Meyer, a culture map author. And two, I recommend you definitely read a book, especially the chapter 9, Lead with Context Instead of Control. And definitely a great book. Give a thought as a future leaders need to change this behavior at a workplace. Stop doing behind closed doors any work. So that is all for this week, and see you again. Do subscribe to our Apple podcast, and the show name is Minimalist Techie, with you'll have all audio version of this particular post. And definitely, as I said, I'm repeating again. Uh, Going from today onwards, this particular podcast, not just highlights, entire article I'm going to please place in the same podcast show, so you can directly read it from the show notes or even on the website, or you can just click on that audio button and listen to me. Sometimes, rather a machine reading the content, a human voice is better to listen to, right? So do let me know in the comments or leave a review on my Minimalist Techie podcast or on a website, leave a comment or email directly to me. What is your view on this particular post? So share, like, subscribe, whatever these days it says. Thank you.